What's up YouTube? For tonight's video I'm doing my top 10 series. Again, I thought I'd revive this one because I did it a few months ago and I thought I'd bring a little bit of variety to my channel with my other videos. Okay, if you want me to do a top 10, leave a comment below, highest summed up comment, I will give a shout out on the next top 10 video. If you like this one, drop a like too below. Okay, for number 10, I see Swallow definitely as a forgotten Pokemon. I like Swallow a lot, don't get me wrong. Its design, I guess, is simple. Yes, it's just a purple blob with little hands and those lips. And yeah, it's not very seen much in the anime or the manga. Looking competitively wise, we've got a nice HP stat here and nice defense and special defense, which is very good. Its physical prowess in attack and special attack is pretty bad, so that does hinder a lot, as well as its very poor speed. Moves it gets, it really supports a utility set. It gets stuff like, Toxic, Yawn, Pain Split, a lot of those sort of moves which are very utility-wise and very handy. Also stuff like Encore as well. It's also weak to Earthquake, which is very common in the single battle field there. And, Poison, also Poison type isn't exactly the most popular type out there. It's not a Dragon and Fire, which, in my opinion, a lot of people look at it as the most popular types out there. So they didn't really have those things going for it, but I myself do like it. Its pre-evolution Gulpin isn't exactly what you'd call the most prettiest looking Pokemon either, apart from those nice juicy lips. Number 9. Carnivine really stands out as a forgotten Pokemon to me. I'd actually really like it. It's one of up there with some of my favourite Pokemon too. The things that I mainly remember it from was the anime with James's Carnivine, and also back in 4th Gen how you had to go actually find it in the marsh area. With its stats, it's got a very nice attack stat, which is awesome. It's got nice supporting moves like Sword Dance, and it's got Sleep Powder. It's got a great ability Levitate. However, it is a grass type, and grass types have extremely poor coverage most of the time, and their barren move pools really do let them down. It's got very, very poor speed, pretty much holding any sort of speedy sweeping process, and its bolt isn't the greatest either, so that definitely brings it down for a lot of people, I'd suggest. Don't let that one get you down though. I like a Venus Flytrap as much as the next guy. Okay, number 8. This is probably one of the hottest Pokemon around, but not in popularity. Macago. Okay, this little hot snail has been seen not very often in the anime or the manga. The really only time you'd see it or use it would probably be on your hatching your Pokemon eggs with its Flame Body ability. Looking at its stats, pretty interesting. It's got a very nice defense stat. That's the first thing you really much see. Pretty much apart from that is quite garbage. It's a subpar to say the least. Being a fire type and a rock type makes it 4 times weak to Earthquake. Very common move. And also being weak to fighting does not help either, being one of the most common types in the game. This poor Pokemon is probably going to be not very much liked because of its poor stats and its weird sort of look. But do not fear, you can get a Shell Smash off and you can outspeed a Caterpie. Oh yeah. Oh dear, it's number 7. Okay, that was a really, really, really bad pun. Okay, next up is Stantler. Now this guy, you see him in Gen 2 a lot in the Pokemon games and such. I remember actually getting put to sleep by him, hypnosis, every single time. And what are you doing, Professor Oak? Let's have a look at his stats. They're pretty solid all around the board. Not really, they're actually very average. Let's have a look. So its speed and attack, and it's just everything's very average. Compared to its other normal counterparts like Ursaring and stuff, it lacks offense and it lacks speed and it lacks any sort of setup like moves at all. Don't let this get you down though. It's got a couple of cool little quirks like Me First. It can run a nice little Choice Scarf Me First set. But apart from that, it's not very used very often, which could definitely be a factor that it's not that well known and stuff. But there is another little thing about it. It comes up at Christmas. So, if you want your Christmas presents, you better start liking this Pokemon. Speaking of forgotten Pokemon, what about Wormadam? This cool Pokemon comes in 3 different types. We've got a Plant Cloak there, a Sandy Cloak, and finally we have a Trash Cloak, if that doesn't get you excited. This Pokemon is all bug type, however, when they change their little types, they actually become different. So with the Plant Cloak, that is a bug, and Grass, looking at it, it's more of a sweeper type Pokemon, which is pretty bad speed still. Sandy Cloak goes to a bug and ground type, and it's a little bit more defensive. Finally, we have the Trash Cloak Pokemon there for Wormadam, and that actually gets a steel typing, which is pretty cool. Its defensive special defense equalize out there, so it's quite common for that one to be used as a check if you really are desperate. But I heard Wormadam makes a good wig, so don't count it out there. Alright, number 5. Now, Maractus is that Pokemon that you always forget about. Coming out in 5th gen, a lot of people forgot about this Pokemon, and I do not blame them. It is overlooked by so many people because it is just... There are so many other Pokemon that do better jobs than it. Let's have a little look at it. Okay, so we've got a very beautiful special attack here. That's nice. There's nothing wrong with that. However, that's about the only good thing it has going for it. It's got a couple of other little quirky things. It's got a very barren special move pool. A lot of the time, you can lock yourself into a Petal Dance, even a Giga Drain or whatnot, and you can become Sap Sipper fodder, or just set up fodder in general. Relying on a shaky hidden power is not the greatest coverage either. A lot of people tend to go for a utility set with Spikes, Cotton Guard, Synesis, whatnot. However, there are a lot of better Pokemon than that out there. It does have Storm Drain, which is a cool ability too, but a lot of it, the moves it does have gimmicks, and I like that sort of thing, but I think that does hold it back from people remembering it and being quite a popular Pokemon in itself. Ow! I think it just pricked my finger. Number 4. Okay. Qwilfish, the pufferfish Pokemon. This wasn't actually that popular early on at all, actually. I remember seeing it when I was playing my Pokemon Silver days. I think only a couple of fishermen actually had it. It just really wasn't seen at all. You didn't really hear much about it at all till the competitive field sort of came up. Now, this was used a lot in the past on weather teams and such now. Not so much now, but it was before. Because of its swift swim ability, and it could run a nice little Rain Dance Stamp Rock set. Mostly now it's used for utility with Spikes, and it gets Pain Split and Waterfall and some handy moves like that. Unfortunately, it's very weak to ground type moves and the common electric type which pushed it down. Its design is very... Well, it's very close to the pufferfish as well. I quite like the design. Those spikes are pretty cool. But it really hasn't had a lot of exposure, and once again, a poison type didn't really do much for it there either. Anyway, guys, be right back. Porcupines for dinner. Right, third on this list is Louminion. Now, this Pokemon was just hardly ever seen getting released in 4th gen. Now, I know a lot of people actually forgot about this Pokemon. It's just really forgettable. It's pre-evolution Finneon as well. I kind of mush them in the same category. Let's have a look at its stats anyway. It's got a... Its speed's nice speed. Its special attack is very weak there, only getting a max of 260. It's got nice typing as a pure water type. Storm Drain, Swift Swim, and Water Veil are very nice abilities on it as well. The thing I see why this isn't used very much is pretty much because it doesn't have any stat boosting abilities. It just doesn't hit hard enough for a sweeping Pokemon. And if you want to run it as like a bulky, let's say a bulky defensive Pokemon, support like Defog or Scold or something like that, it'll do alright, but it just won't be able to check things very well at all. Like, it'll just get eaten away by the chip damage a lot. I see it being... That's pretty much how it is. It's stuck between a rock and a hard place, which makes Louminion a fish out of water in popularity. Yep, I said it. Okay, 5th gen had a lot of Pokemon we forgot about. Heatmore was definitely one of them, being high on my list of forgettable Pokemon. Now, being a fire type, which is a pretty common type people remember, this Pokemon was hardly ever seen in the games very much. You did see it in a Horde, but it was actually a rare Pokemon in the Horde. Let's have a look at its stats. So, boasting a very nice special attack and attack, and average health, a very nice move pool, very nice, very diverse. The problems it had was its speed and its bulk was a little bit average in a sense. So a lot of Pokemon were definitely picked over it, and it did fall victim to, it does fall victim to Stealth Rocks and Spikes and any entry hazards along the way. Very interesting though, when I think of Heatmor, I think of Durant straight away. Now that's one heated relationship. Okay, so you're probably wondering what number 1 is. That is Corsola. This Pokemon was really only seen by surfing around and fishing. It was quite rare in the early gens, but became a little bit more uncommon in the latter gens. No one really used this Pokemon, and no one still really does, which is a shame because it's actually up there with some of my very favourite Pokemon. Since it's got pretty much piss poor offensive stats in attack and special attack, outside of hustle, which is very risky, and its defensive stats are quite shaky as well as its health, and really relying on regenerate and weak to 4 times grass and ground and fighting. Its Dex entry is interesting though. Oh yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Bit of fun, bit of a laugh tonight. If you'd like me to do this, just let me know in the comments. I can do pretty much what you guys would like. Make sure you leave your top 10 suggestion in the comment section. Leave a like if you enjoyed this one. And yeah, that's about it. Also live streaming tomorrow, so be ready for that one. I'll put some reminders up and stuff. That's about it, guys. Peace out.